the gun lobby in this country is powerful, very powerful. So 6 months to the day that all those families, all those mothers and fathers lost their third graders and second graders, right, at the school, this man vetoed common sense gun law legislation. He vetoed it. So how the hell is he a moderate? That makes you moderate? So I don't know if the White House is playing games. I don't know if they're trying to beat the Republicans at their end game. Like, okay, well, you said you're going to stall me out. Okay, I'm going to nominate one of you. I'm going to nominate a Republican. Let's see what you do. But, and again, I hope the Obama administration is playing that game, because I would much rather have somebody who leans to the left. Like, I want somebody who's pro-choice. I want somebody who understands that the gun manufacturers in this country share some of the blame. It's their product. It's their product. Oh, by the way, one of the family members from Sandy Hook is currently suing the manufacturer of the gun that the gunman used to kill her child and many others at that day, or in the school that day. And I support that woman. And I don't understand why more people can't see it. I don't understand it. If you manufacture something, right, that's on the scene of a lot of deaths, tragically, then on some levels, it's fair for us to ask you, what can you do as a manufacturer of guns, of weapons in this country? What can you do to try to turn the tide, to try to prevent it getting in the hands of bad guys, to try to prevent when a gun gets into the hand of a child where they can kill themselves or a friend? I think that's fair. I think that's fair. But what is Obama doing? He's going to nominate a Republican. They're saying he's a moderate because he's pro-choice and he's pro-immigration, and that's about it. That's about it. And I hope that the Obama administration doesn't outsmart themselves. Like, they might be thinking like, well, let's just try to get someone in the Supreme Court, because then that's going to further cement the legacy of Obama, because then he'll have a couple of people that he put on Supreme Court, right? Right? You have 3 people he put on Supreme Court. And if not, but again, to me, the numbers game matters less than who's on the court and what direction they take the court in. To me, that makes much more sense. And I don't know, anything about the politics of the Supreme Court right now, but there is now a balance. There's a balance in terms of what you might call people who lean to the left and those who lean to the right, politically speaking. Whomever Obama appoints is going to tip the scales. This is it. What's a better legacy than the fact that you were the president, right, that nominated somebody that swung the courts in a particular position or in a particular, direction, either left or to the right. But that's just me. Tell me what you think. Wanda writes, you can sue the manufacturers. There's a lot of proving you can do. But you know what? During the Bush administration, he signed a bill that helped to immunize the gun manufacturers from civil lawsuits. And that was because even in the city of Cincinnati, you had a lot of cities that were saying, wait a minute, how do we recoup our money? Well, you manufactured the gun, so they were going after the gun manufacturers. But see, when you got political connects, you can get Congress or the president to sign off on something like that. And I'm not saying that the person who picks up the gun ultimately is responsible. But in today's days and times, when there's this proliferation of guns, we got to ask ourselves, why are they still manufacturing them? Why is it that every handgun is manufactured that rolls off the assembly line doesn't have the type of technology where, if you're not the owner, then you can't use it, much like Apple? Why can't we meld those two worlds between software and the manufacturing of guns, where that if you're not the person that purchased it, right, if you get your hand on a gun, it won't even operate. I'm here to tell you that technology exists, but it's expensive. So the gun manufacturers don't want to spend more money. Why? Because that cuts into what? Their profits. It's all about money, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about money. It's all about money, in my opinion. But let me move on here. Many things to discuss. Good morning. This is Nathan Ivey Online. Has anybody been paying attention to, and I'm not sure why you would at all, But has anybody been paying attention to Mr. Terry Crews? Terry Crews? You remember Terry Crews, the actor, dark-skinned brother, big. He played in the NFL. Apparently on his Facebook page, I'm switching gears completely here. Apparently I got a sticker for the men. Apparently on his Facebook page, he confessed. He came out and confessed that he had a porn addiction back in the day. And I thought, damn it, man, keep it to yourself. Doesn't every man have a porn addiction at some point in their life? And what is porn these days? Because sometimes I turn on the cable news and it feels like porn. I don't even know what porn is these days. Pornography, I don't even know what that is. I really don't. Because it's like the worlds are merging these days. I mean, you can turn on cable news channels that you don't have to pay for and see all kind of raunchiness. All kind of raunchiness. I saw a clip from a young R&B, I don't know if she's a superstar or not, but she's got a reality television show on the E! Network. And I guess they just looking for interesting things to do. She's in Hollywood, I believe, California. So she goes to a service where she can get her anus bleached. Not making this up. And I'm watching this like, what in the hell? I mean, she literally gets up on all fours, disrobed. Now, they don't show her completely, but they show her from the side. I'm thinking, this is pornography. It's on television. And yes, it's late night cable television, but my point is, what is pornography these days? I don't get it. Terry Crews, man, I don't know what he's going to come out and say next. 2 years ago, he came out and said, when I was in the NFL, I was bullied. I was bullied in the locker room. And I was thinking, how you get bullied in the locker room without no muscles? I was bullied in the locker room. And now you come out saying you had a porn addiction? We don't care, man. Keep that to yourself. I don't even know what that means these days. But you can find it online if you find it interesting. The things people do these days. Stop using Facebook to confess, man. Go to church. Go see the Catholic priest. Don't do that on Facebook. It's ridiculous. Now, somebody on Twitter is asking me, oh, that's funny. Yes, I do believe, yes, you can't have a porn addiction. You can have an addiction to anything. You could be addicted to chocolate. You could be addicted to anything. You could be addicted to money. You could be addicted to working out. You could be addicted to food. You could be addicted to regurgitating. Yes, you can. You can be addicted to almost anything. You really can. Get in line, man. Everybody goes through that. Every man goes through that, I think. Am I wrong on that? At some point, every man goes through a porn addiction. And then the way things are set up today, it's not like it was when I was younger. Like, when I was younger, the first pornography I ever saw, the first porn I ever saw was something, I was at my father's house. And I think he went to the store or something. And I went through his little thing. I knew he had a good stuff at. And I came across the video, put it in the VHS. Nowadays, with your smartphone, I mean, literally, you're like 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks away from anything you want to see these days. Anything you want to see is wild out there. It's everywhere. And I'm not so sure if it's good for us. I'm not really sure. What else should we discuss this morning? Sheriff Clark, the silliest black man on Fox. The silliest black man on Fox. Tracy writes, I love Terry. He can do no wrong. Well, Rhonda writes, some women too. Ain't that the truth? Christelle writes, what did she write? I lost it. Yes, Terry Crews. I heard about this. By the way, good morning. Good morning, Christelle. It's like, keep your addiction to yourself, man. We don't want to care. Well, we all got a porn addiction. What man does it? Or, as Rhonda put it, hey, what one man? It's just an adult thing. It's a very sensitive brother, man. To have all them big muscles and stuff. He's a very sensitive brother. And Google it. Go to Vlad TV. If you think I'm lying about that, about 2 years ago, he came out, speaking to Terry Crews, and said, when I was in the NFL, I was bullied. It's a man's world, and you got to be tough. I'm like, do some push-ups, man, and some sit-ups and keep moving on. What else should we discuss this morning? Numerous things on the topic list. We talked about Trump just a little bit. He will be your Republican nominee. Get ready for it. Rubio doesn't have what it takes. Kasich doesn't have what it takes. It looks like Donald Trump is going to be the man. I think it's going to be entertaining. Nonetheless, I think it's going to be very, very entertaining. Whether it's Trump versus Sanders, and something tells me that Sanders, He might be able to hold his own. Trump versus Hillary? Now that'll be fun. Because they both can get snippy. Right? And they both got a certain charisma to them. That'll be very, very interesting. So they once thought that it was unthinkable. Now it's looking like it's inevitable. Get ready for it. Get ready for it. This is the world you live in. Keena writes, people use social media sites to tell everything. They do. Jerica writes, there's no such thing as a porn addiction. It's simply a lack of impulse control. Right, addiction. Brian writes, remember when the VHS tape got stuck? Yes, I did. It got stuck twice. And I had to break the tape out so I didn't get caught. Christelle writes, yes, keep your business off Facebook. Do you remember that song that came out a couple years ago? Yes, I do. Keep it off of Facebook. Wanda writes, half of the senators own the manufacturers. That's the problem. Yeah, the gun manufacturers, it seems like a lot of politicians are in the pocket of the gun manufacturers. They really are. A lot of politicians are either punked out and scared of the NRA. They're afraid to even pick up that challenge. That's why when I hear somebody talking about it, I give them respect for it. I can respect that because that is a huge issue right here, right now, in these days and times that we live in. Right here, right now. Not tomorrow, not yesteryear, but right here, right now. I don't know what else should we discuss this morning. Have you read the new study that shows that black males only represent 2% of all public school teachers? Switching gears again, fam. Black males, in a new study, black males only represent 2% of all public school teachers. What? Now, the majority of young black people go to public schools. And if this study holds up to be true, what does that say about their education? What does that say about the support system? I mean, what does it say about the environment that we're sending our children to on a regular basis? 2%? And it must be true because, like I said, I worked in a public school here in the city of Cincinnati for about 5 years, running before and after school programs. That's right. You know, Ivey cared about the kids and did a damn good job. Nationally recognized program, as a matter of fact. Whatever I do it superlatively, whatever it is. And I'm here to tell you that that is true. Like when you walk into a school building, you see black males, or if you're a black teacher or you're like a black educator, man, they put you on a pedestal. I can't believe you're here. Oh my God, we're happy to see you. Doesn't mean you always get the respect that you deserve, but there is that element because you don't really see a lot of black males in that particular world. Why not is my question. Anybody got a handle on why these numbers? Let's say the numbers are true. 2% of black males work as teachers in public schools. Only 2%. Why? Is it the money? Are black males from the cradle not really pushed in that direction to be educators? What is it? Are there some type of barriers for black males? I mean, you know, when I was a kid, I never wanted to be a teacher. I never thought about being a teacher. That was the last thing on my mind. You know, maybe it's something more natural than that. I think it's a real problem, though. I really do, because, you know, young people, they need to see somebody who they feel like identifies them, especially if you're a black kid. Especially a black kid, let's be honest here. And you go into these school buildings, and I think that kind of explains something. It really does. I think that if we had more black males as teachers, then we would have less so-called discipline problems from black males in the schools. Because I think that black people interpret things a little bit differently when they're dealing with black kids. So, for instance, and this is just my opinion here, I think that most kids are going to have discipline problems because that's just kids. You know, that's why they're in school, to learn the rules. And I've told, you know, my daughter's teachers over the years just that. She ain't perfect, and don't expect her to be perfect. Why would you? She's a child. She's going to make mistakes. All kids are going to do this. It's your job and our job to make sure that we push them back on the right path. Okay? So when I've seen and heard about kids for minor infractions who get detentions, I'm thinking those educators don't really care. Because when you work with kids,